Welcome to Bold, a discussion of writing and how you can write big and bold and beautifully. My name's Kate Ristaw. I'm an author, a world creator, a folklorist. I've been working on writing my whole life and working with writers for longer than I can remember because one of the things that I love more than anything is being able to help writers like find their vision and find what they believe is their story and help them kind of uncrack and dig into all of the good that they have to offer all of us. So, one of the things that I talk about a lot is basically, what do you think your story is? Because a lot of times we start with this idea of the story that we want to tell, right? And that idea comes from our past experiences, it comes from our English classes, it comes from other writing instructors, it comes from other writers, it comes from other books. But a lot of times it doesn't come from us. So when you pause and you really think about what you want to write, sometimes it's very different than the words that you've been putting on the page. For example, when I was in undergrad, I took a class with David Foster Wallace. And if you've ever heard his name, you know that he's this great postmodernist writer, right? And he wrote so many amazing works. And so when I sat down in his class, like every single time I was worried and I was anxious, and I knew that stuff wasn't going to quite be good enough. Um, but the thing was that I would write my stories and I would share them in the workshop and I'd share them in the class. And the other students would laugh at all the right places and they'd think they were funny and they'd think the stories were interesting and compelling. And but they were all just very, very contemporary and very almost commercial. Like I was writing the things that I wanted to read. And one time David Foster Wallace sat me down and he said, "Kate, do you think you can write something that's serious?" And I was like, "Yeah. Yeah, I can totally write something that's serious. Like, it's fine. Like, yeah, I'll write something for the next workshop. I'm gonna have a serious story. It's gonna be very serious." And from the way I'm saying it and from the way that the story started, that when they met in Starbucks, it was pretty much all downhill from there. Like, it was funny and the class laughed and it was irreverent and weird, but it wasn't serious, at least not serious in the way that he meant. And for the longest time, I thought that that was what your writing had to be. It had to be serious. It had to make big splash in the literary world. It had to be trying to do something more than telling your story, something that nudged at the edges of fiction and had us redefining how we look and see the world of books, of language. But sometimes the story that you want to tell is a beautiful story, or it's a wonderful story, or it's an exciting story. Maybe it's not serious. Maybe it's funny. Maybe that's what's important to you, is making people happy or making people smile or giving them hope or giving them a different way of looking at the world. So that's the thing that I come back to day after day as I'm working with writers, as I'm thinking about writing, as I'm talking about writing, is, you know, when you write your stories, make it your story, the story that matters to you, not the story that you think you're supposed to write. Make it the story that you were meant to tell and only you can tell.